Let's start, yeah, we'll start here at kickoff, call to order at 6:10. Yeah, we'll start with Geraldine Chair is here.
Rebecca Hollenbeck, Executive Director of Historical and Main Street.
Shannon Eilis, with Shannon Eilis Homes and community member.
Street Warden. Victoria Manning, Executive Director for the Chamber of Commerce.
Steve Cooper, Community Development Director for the City of West Linn.
Lynn Schroeder, Management Analyst, West Linn.
Kevin Byington, City Councilor and City Council Liaison.
Buzz Williams.
Alan Line.
Hi, Shannon. Everything's a little bit, I don't know, echoey, so I'm hearing as best as I can.
Is this better?
Okay, if one person talks at a time, I can hear it, but if everyone's kind of talking like right after each other, it just starts to blend together.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Are you in a sauna?
I am in a sauna. It's like the quietest place in my house.
This room needs more mics, and it's getting them apparently.
Okay, great. Works. I think we have any public comment today. So we will get rolling into the approval of the meeting minutes. Meeting minutes were sent out. We have 3 months to approve: January, February, and March of this year. The motion to approve all 3 months of minutes. Anyone have anything they'd like to point out for? Want to second that? In favor of approving meeting minutes. Great. Meeting minutes approved. Okay, so we had, one of the things we were tasked with by the council was to conduct a SWOT analysis, which we did months ago, back in December. And I think it was February or March where we came to it because not everybody had seen it. And so I want to present a SWOT analysis to the council that's been approved by the committee. And so has anyone have any thoughts, concerns about the SWOT analysis as it is?
My only concern is the role map.
Okay. You want to talk about that a little more?
Well, I haven't been on this committee very long. My sense is that it would be hard for the members to be given the assignments, just based on observations today. Everybody's been busy. Having meetings at forums. Some of this stuff would be the hardest time if they have full-time jobs. It's more aligned with having good staff resources, maybe then they could do it. Otherwise, I think the analysis is good. And again, if they're okay with it, I mean, my name's not here, but if they're okay with getting it, having to be kind of the lead or take some responsibility for it, then I guess they could speak, but that would be my concern.
Sure. When we put the role map together, or talked about it, or I think the intent of the role map is when a project arises and we want to put our brains together as a committee, it gives us a guide as to who we can ask or request to conduct a certain portion of the work, whatever it is. That was just simply done by the group saying, here's what I'm good at. Which I think that conversation happened in November. Here's what I'm good at. Here's what I'd like to do. And so we took that information and we put it in here. We said this is the strength and focus because this is what they want to do and they're good at. I think for me, both of those things have to exist for it to make sense. But if we did have a project to take on and we were as a committee, we were going to tackle it, we wouldn't just use this framework necessarily as how we're going to divvy up load. There would be a conversation around who can capacity wise take on certain things first.
Because it's my understanding that to have a subcommittee, which is depending on what we're going to work on, would be the way to go. That requires council approval to create a subcommittee. And then I may be wrong, but when we were talking about Vision 43, and we thought, or it sounded like you thought you had a member here who had been represented, or this committee had been represented, and it came to me that that wasn't the case. I think I was disappointed in that because I think somebody here would have played a really good role on that. I just, again, just in a little bit, just my observations on it, but I appreciate it.
If we needed a subcommittee, I don't think there's any reason why we wouldn't. But if there's an additional cost or another purpose to it that I'm unaware of, that's another consideration. But if it's as simple as a couple of people want to work on something independently, I don't think there's anything out of that at all.
What would that process look like from a formal standpoint?
I don't know.
Yeah, and I think I had taken the council rules to mean that if there was a quorum of the committee who wanted to meet as a subcommittee, that the council needed to do it. But if a non-quorum of members wanted to meet to discuss business of the committee, that was permissible.
Okay.
That was the purpose for having the council approve it, is that it would be essentially
Get a quorum of
another public body.
I think part of the reason also is that, like, if there's if the EDC is going off, it's making recommendations when the city council, and so it would be simply just communicating with them for questions. Letter with the community, we'd like some committee made up of these people to do this. And then we'd send it up, they would say yes or no, and then be in place.
Yeah, okay.
And I'll just throw out there for you guys, Arts and Culture has a subcommittee that's looking at an artwork project with Oregon's City Lake Oswego. So I think we have sort of already figured out what that is focused on.
If it needed to be approved by council, though, it would be the same as the SWOT analysis thing that once again, I bring it up and everyone agrees.
I just want to interject real quick. Christy Lance has joined us via WebEx.
Hi, Christy.
Hi guys, so sorry I was a few minutes late.
It's okay. We're just going through the SWOT analysis.
Perfect.
Do you have any concerns or thoughts or anything you want to bring forward regarding that to the committee?
Just jumping in, I don't right now, but I might think of something as we go through it.
Sherry, would you like me to include you on the whole map before we approve it? If you're not on there.
Not necessarily. I mean, as I said, I had no issues with, that was the only one because I don't know people. I don't know if this would be a burden or not, if it fell within the responsibilities to take the lead. Sure.
Makes sense. Anyone else? Otherwise, I'll put a motion forward to approve the SWOT analysis. Anyone like to second this? Thank you, Russell. All in favor of approving the SWOT analysis? Shannon approves, Christie approves.
5-0, 6-0.
Thank you. Yeah, so this one that came through, I noticed that the original one had roles listed for everybody. We had talked about in this one that came through. But I'll make sure we send the original one through. Well, you just had her back to she that Sherry's referring to.
Oh, am I the only one with that?
No, it just got cut off.
No wonder you're not talking
Cut
about
off on Wetlands and out, that cut off the last part of it, but that was sent, that whole thing was.
it. It started down here and then.
Great. Okay, this is where the fun begins. One of the things we did as a committee at the same time was we talked about ways we could assist, I guess, let me back up. Our task is to handle things that come up from the council. And when there isn't something actively being presented to us by the council, we all had a conversation around picking or basically what do we want to work on and what can we work on to help impact the economics of Westland. And one of the areas that came up that had legs was work from home business support. And so that's the thing I wanted to throw out for discussion today. There are, Westland is a bedroom community. There are a lot of people who work from home in Westland. There are a lot of people who have home-based businesses in Westland. I just had a chat, look at the census and give us some basic estimates. But reasonably, about 4,000 Westland residents work primarily from home. Anywhere between 3,700 and 4,500 based on the census data available from 2024. People who work remotely at least part of the week, 5,000 to 6,000, which is a higher ratio than most cities will enjoy. As far as home-based businesses, between 12 and 1,500 Westland residents actively run a business from their home, which once again is a larger than normal ratio. So one of the things we've talked about that's come up a few times is how do we support this community of people, both sides, people who work from home, and another sector would be the people who run home-based businesses. And is there a way to generate revenue, business permitting and such, on the people that run home-based businesses? So what's the opportunity to support and potentially generate revenue from our home-based business and the people that work from home?
Well, I run a networking group for women business owners, and I would say probably 95% of the members have their business at home. A couple have brick and mortar. Shannon is one of them, but the majority work from home. And we've talked about this before, but the business licensing is difficult, cumbersome, and I actually went through the process, and something happened and went wrong for the roundtable, for the networking group, and I couldn't get the licensing. It kicked me back out. I had no idea why. So I think if we're going to support small businesses, having an easier process would make it easier. And they may not, I would say that the majority of, at least the people that I work with, don't even realize they should have a business license. So awareness is a great opportunity to grow the revenue from it, and also making it an easier process. I am fairly tech savvy, and if I couldn't get through it, I mean, I am not Gen Z by any stretch of the imagination, but it was really difficult. So I think those two things. One of the things we talked about in this group or touched on is providing more education for small businesses to expand and grow and thrive. We have we technically have a small business development center in the library, but it's been defunct for several years. They hold the title. They don't have anyone doing it. I've offered to do workshops. But having a space to do workshops and even having a summit or resources, a resource fair for small businesses are just some of the things out of my mind.
And sorry, I got hot, so I had to turn the light off. So now I'm in the dark. I want to renew my license, and I clicked the link to go to renew my license, and I cannot figure out where to actually renew the license, because it just goes to like the page with all the fees and like instructions on like who needs a license. But I literally could not find the link where I actually renew. And I just remembered that I still need to go back and do that, because I was like trying to do it at the end of the day and get it done. And it was, so it is not user friendly at all. And then I also say that I got, I think it was due July 1st or something like that. And I got like a second notice email, like on July 1st, like very threatening, like I needed to renew this now. And it was not very, and then when I actually, got to read the email or whatever, it says it must be paid by July 31st. So I'm like, why am I getting this threatening email when it says it must be paid by July 31st? Just my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, thanks, Shannon. Russell?
I was going to ask, you said that 95% of them need education. Is there something specific that they were looking for when the education system very provide?
By that, I mean support for their businesses, whether it's learning how to use AI in their business, if they need to create a budget for their business. Many very small first-time business owners don't have any systems in place to support them, to help them grow. So marketing, how do you use SEO effectively for your website, how to create a website. I mean, there's just so many small things that small business owners don't know how to do. And they're looking for free resources or someone to help them do that. So any support we could provide. And I know in the past there were grants, I don't think there's anything now, but that is just something that I see a great need, because I'm talking to these women every week.
So I have a question. So these, I understand how those businesses would need that. I'm not quite sure, do chambers provide this?
Yes.
Do some other,
They can.
yeah, so how is it different, what is it specifically that a municipality should do?
Providing a space to hold the workshops. I have all the people that can teach them, but
We
finding
do as well. We have space now. We have our new offices, so we can actually do them in-house very easily.
that would be great.
Why wouldn't it just
Just roll
Do this.
to us
Yeah.
now that we have the space, the capability and so forth. That's not a problem, because you don't have to be a member to join the educational portion.
Yeah.
You just have to, yeah. Typically, if you're a member, you get it at an interpreter's copy, and then if you're not a member, you look for it. So,
Yeah, there's a great community space in the historic city hall, and that would be great.
yeah.
Have fun to use
So-
that space.
It
do you
is.
think membership is a barrier to them working with chamber?
They don't have to be members to utilize it.
Oh, okay.
No, not at all.
They may not.
Yeah.
Right.
Great.
So as we bring them out, we can publish them as the member rate and the non-member. And then you can get welcome. So that is not an issue as long as the EC doesn't have a problem. And have to promote that as we go forward. There's no problem.
And how do we promote that? Is it worth promoting? How do we promote it?
So definitely put it in, our socials, and, we can definitely be an avenue for promoting that. Put in water bills, we can do that kind of thing. So, there's a lot of ways for us to promote that to the citizens. So,
So that's typically not an issue if that's currently and interest. We can also help with the business registration. It will depend on what the city chooses. The city chooses to approach that. During COVID, when we had business resource centers in our chambers that were funded by ARPA funding, we did that in conjunction with our cities to be able to collect all the proper data. But that is something that, again, the city would have to say, okay, this is something that we want to do. This is, you know, that kind of, I don't know. We've not approached anyone to talk about that as well.
Would be a violation of any privacy laws that the city published a list monthly to the chamber to provide, like the chamber could then send a welcome. Congrats on your new
It
business.
is publicly available. Currently.
Yeah. So what we would do is then we would just request, it's a public records request, in my former.
You can also just access that.
Yeah.
You could just, the
It's just
chamber could just take it over and provide that. Start providing.
And for the debt. So, but again, it's something
City.
that the city would have to agree to as well, because typically how we would run it is that we would either give it an increase or we would take a percentage of what is collected. So that has to be something that the city would have that discussion.
So you're suggesting that the chamber would become
We can help with the business, getting those business registrations taken care of. And so that's typically how that can work.
Because what I think what she's getting at is that there'd be a fee involved for the chamber to collect the money to help process that.
I think I was confused because I was talking about if a new business registered, that's publicly available, the chamber can grab that, just do the welcome.
Yes, if you didn't want us to deal with the registration portion, absolutely, we could just download, send the welcome packet.
As you guys want to do it.
No, not currently.
And from a municipality is just providing space, you're having space, really, it's just.
We have space things too.
It sounds like it's a sequencing thing, because you said if you help them register, that you would want an admin fee. But it seems like if you were going to put together a curriculum and sequence it, the first one would be training them on how to register. That way, you know, there wouldn't need to be any burden on you or your staff to provide that service. But I think when you go to put the curriculum together, the sequencing of it, the first thing you'd want to do is make sure they understood what the city services were. City could represent that, and this is what the process would be, and hopefully by then, the IT department could fix the format or the technology for doing that, because it doesn't make sense if the whole meeting and the education is all about how difficult it is to use it, and I couldn't use it myself, you know, or whatever. I mean, that doesn't make sense. So I think some to go into this, the sequencing of the curriculum.
So I would think that the chamber would want to stay away from regulatory, being a regular, you know, a front for the regulations of business licensing. I mean, the business organization could do a lot of education and stuff like that. They can even do welcomes based on getting our information, who is registered. That we can send that information. But have them be the front would be, I think, kind of conflict.
Well, we wouldn't do like the angry letter to come.
Yeah.
You know, if you needed to do enforcement would come from the city. We would just be able to give you the information. These are the businesses that we currently have. These are the businesses that we have contacted. This is, you know, based off this public record information, you know, blah, 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 blah. But we wouldn't do the enforcement. We would collect the data because that collection of data is very important to us. And then we share the data with you as well. And then you utilize it however you typically would based on your, you know, whether you need to do it in the tax process or whatever, trying to figure it out. No, but we don't do any enforcement. We just assist in that beginning portion and make sure that the processes start.
Well, I just thought the whole thing was getting education services to people who don't know that they're available. So if you just got a license and then got a solicitation for the services, like we're talking about getting people registered, but if they don't even
No,
There's
two.
kind of getting to that point of it. And so I thought we're talking about something else. It seems like we're going down a different path about what the chamber can do with the city for registration, but I thought we were talking about before they even established, they got their license and now the chamber's gonna reach out. Provide those services to help provide the education that Shannon was talking about that they need.
So okay, so we can do that. They can sign, again, we can hold a public record, we can do a welcome. Or if you're thinking, okay, but how do these folks know that they need to register their businesses? We can always do a public campaign that talks about why you would register your business with your city. I mean, that's a public information campaign. Because a lot of times they don't understand. During COVID, that's one of the main things we learned, that there were so many businesses that had no idea that they even needed to register with the city. They had no idea that that was a part of the thing, or like they had let it lapse. They hadn't thought about it twice after that, and they've just been, 5 years going through and had never renewed them.
Yeah,
And
I mean, we routinely have vendors that deal with us in the city, don't realize that to deal with us as a city, they need to get a business license.
So,
But still, I mean, I've seen services where they help you fill out paperwork and they charge you a fee for that, but that was still the burden of getting in front of those people that like you're just listening. It wasn't a municipality. It was that service advertised, did Google meetings, whatever it was, to help them do it. I'm not sure I see where the city falls.
so are you saying you would want the city to be able to do that portion? Is that what you're?
No, it sounds like what you're talking about is something that the chamber should do with holding home. Like, I want to find people that don't know and help them and charge them a fee for it. Then why would the city get, like, I'm just not seeing the connection where the city would get involved.
Because the city wants to collect the registration fee.
The city gets the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get the fee regardless whether you help them or not.
Well, what they're saying is that the people don't know that they need a license. And so if you're doing a campaign to make people aware, then that's going to get more business licenses. The city more money from the business license for all the people who should be licensed but aren't licensed. Because the way our code is written too is like anybody like coming that's doing like has a mobile grooming truck or whatever, and they come in to someone's house in West Linn to do business, they technically need a city business license to do that, but I don't think any of them know that.
Well, I didn't realize that. A lot of folks that do that Airbnbs out of their homes have no idea that they should actually register in the city. We have a lot of that.
I think that there's the revenue piece, and it sounds like there could be some kind of lodging tax as an opportunity based on what you just said. Certainly, yeah. So, but again, it's identifying those and same with the business license. There's that piece, but I think what you were talking about was just, this was about how could you help, not the revenue piece, just how could you, provide some support to the businesses. So it's kind of needs to be.
Right, well, that's what I thought we were talking about at the beginning was supporting, and then Shannon said, well, they need education, so how do they know the education is available? Once they register, the services that provide the education reach out. But then we started talking about, well, how can we get the city to pay for the outreach so that the chamber can collect a fee to get them to register? And
Because you
so I was
increase your registrations, every time you increase registration.
Quick comment, so like with our market, for example, our market manager created a how-to video. And those are things that maybe this committee could maybe work towards. A how-to video on how to register with the city, how, here's some opportunities, things like that they can click on, and then, they're already going to the city website. If an informational campaign was being done, it could be like, hey, go here to look for this information.
Yeah.
People like videos and how to learn how to do things.
Absolutely.
So maybe this is an example of something that could use a subcommittee to kind of figure out the pieces and then bring it back to this group.
Yeah, well, We're also not working on a lot.
That's true.
So we could,
Dig into
use it-
this.
we could own this as a group, and I want to, the goal, I want to, this would be the vision that I think I want to agree on, kind of, it'll make sense when I explain it. So we've got people that aren't registered right now. They have their businesses are not registered. They may not know they need to. And we would like them to register appropriately and pay registration licenses for their businesses. And then ultimately, we want these businesses to do well.
Fire alarm?
To be in the building. We want these businesses to do well. And then we want them to grow, and we want them to lease thrive and lease space and hire more employees and generate more revenue for the city, right? Is that what we want? Is that what we want? I don't know for sure. I seriously, but I think that's what we want. And so,
This is alarm. I'm
for the
sorry.
door,
Yes. Alarm on.
I wasn't able to figure it out, maybe not. Okay, so what part of that process, and it's not just the people that don't have licenses that we want to focus on, it's the people that do have licenses that also could use the education and grow. So we want more people to register, and then we want to take this group of people and maybe identify some people, not all of them, but some of them, that we think we could invest in and time and energy in that would end up making an impact in the city the most through support and through the chamber. Does that make sense? The way I'm thinking about it?
Yeah.
Sherry, what do you think? Does that make sense? I only ask you because you tend to think of things differently than me, and so it's helpful.
Well, actually, what I was thinking about was the city paid and Salem paid to have videos done of some groups that were organically growing. One of them being a bunch of women who started their own businesses, and then they knew of each other through, and so they actually got a pretty big group, and their story was just amazing. All the city did was do the video, interview them, and said, because part of what they were talking about was how great it was having their businesses in Salem. And so we paid because we wanted to have that video to market doing business in Salem. I mean, if you go to some cities' websites, the first thing you see is open for business, it just pops right up and how can we help you? And so we did several of those, but again, if they, we found out because we had meetings of businesses like you do, and we found out their collaboration and we off of it. So, yeah, I mean, I think it would be good to have a purpose and to have the committee have something to be engaged in and to actually accomplish something. It's all about accomplishment.
Right.
But I think a subcommittee will definitely be required, especially if we're meeting so infrequently. There's no way.
We're meeting once every quarter,
Yeah, there's no
but
way.
it's kind of becoming, yeah. No, I see great opportunities in what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's, just thinking of that opportunity to sit and learn from each other between.
Well, it seems like there's a few different problems that we've identified. One is getting people who aren't licensed to become licensed. One. And then two, the second issue is, it kind of ties into everything. It's providing support and education around how to register and how to grow your business. So supporting those people once they're licensed already. That's a second very large nebulous kind of issue. So getting people registered, and then they're supporting people and helping them scale to get to that place, right? guess we could break it down into two really general things. How would we, first one seems easier to talk about. How would we tackle, what are some other ideas or thoughts on how we as a committee could tackle, work with the city, work with the chamber on getting more people registered? We've already thrown out some good stuff here. If that was the one thing we wanted to focus on for the next 15 minutes, just getting people registered, getting people that aren't paying lodging tax and aren't registered in their Airbnbs, aren't registering their businesses, registered.
We've talked about this before, and it was like there's carrots and sticks. So the stick is too expensive. The city doesn't have the resources to actually to monitor, like we could say, just check Airbnb on the data to see if there's maybe that's not right.
Yeah, and I think maybe just to clarify a distinction between the transient lodging tax and the business license. Nowadays, Airbnb and other companies remit the tax automatically. It's just part of doing business. And so that part really isn't an issue any longer. It's more so the business license piece.
They also need a business license.
They do have that, right? And so that, the lodging tax is taken care of effectively, because as long as they register with a platform, those platforms have had too much legal action taken against them by this point. They build it into the, so then that gets sent to the county, and then the county basically process a share.
But then we don't have any report on where those shares come from.
I don't know the answer to that question of whether or not we get.
It's like if we were trying to, specifically, we're trying to focus on short-term rentals. We're getting transient occupant tax from the county. If we got a list of the addresses that it came from, that seems like it would be easy.
I can't believe that they don't have that, because we, in Salem, we had a board that was oversaw the transit occupancy tax. And so most of the members on that were people that paid the transit occupancy tax, because they had a huge program where you could apply for grants. A piece of the transit occupancy tax was given back for purposes in that, how those funds could be used, but it sounds like the city gets.
We just get so little of it. It's really,
That's
we
not
get
bad,
like
I mean.
$20,000 a year, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's a few people here and there operating part of their home as an Airbnb. We don't have any hotels whatsoever, so it's all individuals. And so
I think there's a lot that purposely don't, because the rules are so strict in renting out your house, whether you're using a platform like Airbnb, that I think there are people that just do it on their own and it's kind of do and then ask for forgiveness later. Don't really qualify to have a short-term rental. I own a short-term rental in Lincoln City, and I'm very aware of all the changes in the politics and things that happen there. And it became very, very strict. And if I were to miss my registration, I would lose it and I couldn't get it back. So it keeps me.
That keeps you.
It does. I turned that. Wow. I may be late on other things, but I turn it back.
Quite a bit of money for their building, and
That's why I don't understand the desire to cut. the process.
So Jared, I'm going to go back to your question. We know, we've identified, we want to get people licensed. And so, I think it's the why, and we already heard, why aren't people licensed? Technology is one.
We're not
We've already
being
heard
aware.
that, or they don't even know about it. So again, as a subcommittee, they know two already, then it's just a matter of, are there more reasons? People don't want to because they don't want to pay. That, nobody said that, but why do I want to
It could be a
stay out of
barrier.
business? It could be the barrier. So, yeah, I don't know about it. I can't into technology. I don't have. And there could be more.
Those are the main ones. Ideally, we would make sure people knew they needed to, they were required to, but that's not enough to get them to do it, to your point. Because it's just not, there needs to be a purpose. And that's where if we can provide the right support and education for these businesses, then That could be part of the with them, you know, the reason why would they do it. We have to pair it.
Hi.
Go ahead, Christy.
I just wanted to ask, how much is a business license for the year in Westland right now?
It's variable. It depends on a multitude of factors. It's around $200, depending.
Okay. Yeah, okay, that would make sense. When I was in Arizona, I rented a chair at a salon and I didn't realize I needed a business license to rent a chair at the salon because I thought the salon's business license covered my business as well. And I actually was reached out to by the city and I paid the license there. I think it was about half that price though.
Well, yeah, so ours is variable depending on, so, you know, he's saying $200, but it can be $100. I think it's $60 for like sole provider. So, okay, well, that's in a fee schedule, but yeah, so it does vary and yeah.
And then I guess the other thing, they found me because I had a Google My Business website and page on Google My Business. And so I wonder if there's anyone who's searching the Google My Business sites for Westland to see if all of those match up to what we have for licenses.
Yeah, I mean, there's just not, I think Russell mentioned it already, there's just not the resources to, I mean, there are ways to figure out who's not paying a business license. There's just not resources to actually deploy those ways and then spend a bunch of time sending letters and using enforcement.
And that's
Yeah, like could AI like just do the search these days? Because it would be hard if you had to do it yourself, but if you could just have AI like do a search for all the businesses.
There's a lot of ways for us to figure out which businesses don't have licenses and all could be pretty automated. It's just not the priority of the city to staff that kind of position.
That's understandable.
Yeah, we could get the information, but there isn't anyone who's gonna chase him down right now. Do anything with that.
Does the city get interns? Do you have
No,
students that, okay. I mean, they don't necessarily all want money. There's people that want, you know, an opportunity to get familiar.
The standard expectation currently is to pay interns.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the days of free interns are unfortunately over. So we don't have budget to pay for interns.
Don't tell my interns.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, in the municipal space, the nonprofit space, I expect it is gonna hang on a little longer.
Everywhere else.
Right.
Makes sense.
So it sounds like and I've heard subcommittee get thrown around on this topic already a couple of times. What about having a subcommittee look at ways to reach some of these people in a more, what's the word, you know, where we're not going to be calling them ourselves, but we can put something on I think Lynn mentioned like their water bill or something like that. Or is there, you know, we could look at some ways to do that. That's not very expensive.
I would have there's some, but like Shannon mentioned the mobile groomers. I mean, from how
And as I mentioned, we could do that. We could do an awareness campaign and then have the city support by sharing the information.
Sure.
So that's not, I mean, that's not an issue. That's an easy to do.
Okay.
It's, especially if we have, you know, city support to be able to put it in water bills or whatever. That's not, literally, you don't need a subcommittee to do that.
Yeah.
It's called, go onto their website, figure out what their process is. We, you know, make sure that the process is easy, that it works. And then we talk about why does the city of Westland need you to have a business registration? Why do you, want to be able to conduct business? Why it's important for you to, build strength in your community. And then again, that portion is an easy thing. You don't need to think twice about it. That's easy and sweet. That's something that you would like us to do to support that.
So as a chamber, do you do surveys that ask the challenges of the businesses and what they need.
A lot of times we just talk to them, you know, when we're having conversations, especially like right now, as we're rebuilding, we invite anybody and everybody. They don't have to be chamber members. We invite them to visit us, check us out, you know, talk to us about it. That's one of the reasons why currently we started this series. That's a once a quarter type scenario. We'll start taking it to once a month, knowing that if that time frame is what suits folks better than the morning time frame, then we start addressing, okay, so we find that we do actually have folks interested in that 4:30 meeting time as opposed to the 8 a.m. meeting time. Or if we have folks that are interested in doing a lunchtime series, then we can do a lunchtime series. So we survey, we talk to people as we go on the street. Yeah, it's not a, you know,
Because I'm just getting up to speed, what are the top 3 things that you're doing series on that the businesses or your members approach the chamber with?
so the only thing that we have currently is a request for AI. That's it.
Okay, so that aligns with, okay, because I was wondering if there was any.
Need for that, but it keeps changing as well. I mean, I don't know if you were part of it, but the summit that they've done a small business summit there in Wilsonville.
Yeah, the Westland Chamber and Wilsonville Chamber.
Done a great job with that and always well attended the AI topics.
Yeah. I will say AI, social media, graphics design.
It sounds like that needs to be offered,
Things.
Yes.
Yeah.
needs to be offered several times a year.
Yes.
Just the same thing over and over.
Every month. And
Yeah, that's nice.
And so getting the trainers is not the problem. We have lots of folks that have already, you know, come and said, we'd like to do this. You know, again, it's hitting that target time, setting them up. Like we did one in February that was a noon event. And we found that we had lots and lots of interest, but very few people that actually registered and showed up.
That's a restaurant time. I mean, because I used to staff the board that had downtown businesses, noon was really difficult for them because most of them worked. It had to be actually even early was hard for them as they had needed it to be later. That doesn't surprise me that noon was.
So in some areas it did.
Kill you
In other areas, our lunch is
A professional, yeah.
works
Like
wonderful.
a fire.
Not getting there, yeah, they did not, so we'll go to the next shot, right, see what vendor works. Try to get that, we try something else, we just.
And I will say that in Westland, a lot of the businesses that are here are very small. There's 1 or 2, maybe 3 people working in them for the majority of that.
Yeah.
And they can't leave. And I mean, like, we moved our general meeting to a different time period. And I've got 5 people who really want to come to it and they can't because they don't have any other staff that can be watching their place. So.
Is there any reason why we wouldn't, as committee one, Victoria, pursue what she's been talking about? Or as just one approach, right? One approach, one angle, and try to get some more information out there for people to register their business.
Is there a dollar amount connected with that has to get approved or I don't know.
If you just want it to be an awareness campaign, the only thing that we need to do is worry about whether or not the system on the city side actually works. Because we can do the write-up, you guys have the majority of the information already done, and we just do it as an awareness campaign. Now, if you want, you know, videos and, you know, marketing materials and all that kind of stuff, then yes, we need to go back and say, you know, can we have some funding for videos and this, that, and the thing, but otherwise, it can go organically.
Russell will do videos for free. Russell will do videos for free.
Oh, thanks.
thank you.
That's a good time.
happens when you
Not
show
everybody
it.
has them. Do you narrate too?
Look at the cats.
I mean, we could certainly do, I mean, the library, your space, I think there's a lot of, now it sounds like a lot of different spaces. It sounds like there's a need. Let people know about it and then maybe get some help for those that find it challenging where they could come in whether it's by appointment or we're just doing a workshop, everyone bring your laptop and we're just gonna register you at different times. Seems like that would be the next two steps.
Now, that would be great, like if the EDC would like to get a subcommittee and they could be here on certain days to help assist, that would be
And someone has to show me how to do it and then I can gladly.
So you're saying that would
The Shannon
volunteer,
too, so.
It would be
volunteer
support.
from the committee.
It would
That'd be
come
something
and help
we could do.
either meet them here or library
Absolutely.
or offices. Or whatever. That takes again, the person or person to come and assist in that.
Do we need to vote to ask you to do that?
I don't know how this meeting
I don't-
works, so in that sense.
We might as well.
Are you wanting to make a motion?
Last time.
about the
A vote just took place in here. If you open my face. But not that.
Outreach?
Or not, something, yeah, informational outreach.
Yeah, I would.
I will motion one.
So you're.
Well, I'm moving to. Now I'm all messed up in my brain. I'll put a motion out that to have the chamber start an informational campaign to get some of these home-based businesses registered and educated on the registration process.
I said,
All in favor?
are you?
Over here.
in favor?
Any opposed?
So your motion is to have the chamber do it, or you want the EDC?
That's the next thing. Because then we're saying, do we want to have a subcommittee volunteer to help with videos and show up and meet with Victoria on what he needs there?
No, I support the chamber to do it. I just think that there should be a clear distinction between the chamber and the city and what the city's role in.
Well, as the city being the partner, so like everything that would go out with the chamber, the city. And then we can always write into their economic development committee. You switch that around and you do the subcommittee first, clearly identify those steps and.
I just, in the past, the city and the chamber has kind of blurred the line. It gets confusing for who provides what, and you know, the people don't know how active the chamber is or how active the city is, and then you get apathy or ignorance. And I just think that we should have a clear definition of who's going to handle which side of it, and but separation of those activities.
What if it's a friendly revision to the motion where the committee supports the chamber? The chamber's on its own. It's doing, after they've attended this meeting, they're doing something to inform the businesses, brief educational piece about the registration. So it's separate. It's just this committee is supporting that action that the chamber's taking. So we're not telling the chamber to do anything. We don't have the authority to do any of that, but we support, we think that's a great idea. Second to that is there's going to be a subcommittee that's going to explore, in addition to what they're doing, if there's anything else that might collaboration or whatever, but it's separate and it's this committee. What do you think?
I think in theory, as long as it's like clear what the support means, like financial support versus just providing information or just giving information. There's different levels of support.
Okay, how about this? We ask the chamber to come back for the next meeting and show us and present to us what they want to do it. Then you are taking action on actually supporting a info.
And would it make sense to also have the committee work subcommittee working on this and bring back information so that that might help inform what the chamber is going to do? Or
And the subcommittee
Could figure out.
say that again?
Oh, I was gonna say, the subcommittee could possibly figure out if the process works, if there's something wrong with the process.
The subcommittee makes sure report from chamber would be correctly with those. If the chamber comes back and says this subcommittee's working with that, and not aligned, you don't even know what the ask is from the chamber at this point.
The subcommittee can be a part of the report out, right? Have provided the feedback.
So well, it sounds like we are just gonna say, okay, chamber, this is what we would like your help with. And the chamber's gonna come back and say, this is what we should do that. And so we are going to make a subcommittee before we hear back what the chamber needs. We may be working on two different things. So I support sending it out to the chamber and letting the chamber tell us what it is that they would like, and then us deciding how we can provide that. What capacity to keep that separation. I don't think so. I think a subcommittee would be premature.
Again, I think to keep the division, the easiest way is to have them bring something back and then we can take action on it. And let's just start there. They, offered to do that based on this meeting. And so that would be a change to the motion.
That would be,
Basically, there wouldn't be a motion at this meeting. The motion would be they get on the agenda when she's ready to come back and kind of share with us what they're thinking. And then we can either have it as an action item, or she can share and then you can make it. Even though I personally don't like to do action items without it publicly saying we're taking an action, but you can. But yeah, that keeps it very clear.
we could rescind the motion today. And Victoria, you could bring to the next meeting you mentioned some extra stuff too. If we had money, we could do these things. I'd like to know the gamut. We'd like to know the gamut of things, and then we can talk about how we can support you as a committee and then a potential subcommittee too.
That's great.
That'd be fun.
That was true.
We don't need subcommittee volunteers now, but I'm curious who would potentially be interested next month when we ask for people to be on the subcommittee for this program, who would potentially be interested in volunteering for that subcommittee. It would be good to know if we have any potential volunteers for that.
I'd be interested.
And I would, since I'm the one that brought it up. Yes, I do.
It's encouraging. Sure.
That way maybe I can finally get a list of the businesses that everybody says exist, but somehow,
Yeah.
because I would like to see if there's clusters, and take it into the future discussion, but we'll start with the baby steps.
Great. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is items of interest from EDC members. Shannon Knight, do you have anything for the group today?
No, I don't have anything. My thing was actually going to be that business lesson.
Great. How about you, Christy? You're muted.
Can you repeat that one more time?
I just wondered if you had any items to bring forward today to the group.
I don't think I do at this time.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
How about you, Sherry?
Well, Vision 43, it never came back. Some of the things that we asked for never came back, and so we never took action on if, I mean, and there were some things that different people had put out there. So I was just wondering, has that gone all the way through? Is that done?
No,
No, so, okay. So I think that this group should have that as an action item to formally say whatever the group wants to say. The two things that I'd asked Darren twice about if encroachment would be required if people were going to do things on an apartment, you know.
You're gonna want to say that again, sorry.
If sidewalk encroachment permits would be required if you were gonna build in one of the apartments based on the renderings and things that he showed. He said he was gonna come back. He never came back. The other thing was, you had said that you had met, with developers. And, you said that you hadn't formatted or hadn't summarized the comments. I was wondering if those are now,
no, not at this point. I mean, I think that, yeah, I mean, where the project stands is that the final code is still being written, and then there will be a work session with the planning commission to share that code and then share any comments, including those of the ETC that were made, and then the planning commission will have an opportunity to react to those. And then ultimately make a recommendation on it, and then the recommendation along with all the comments will go to council, and then council will determine what, if any, of that feedback to take into account in the final code.
so what's the timeline when schedule for that?
Probably like maybe by the end of this calendar year, but probably likely early 27.
Okay. I don't know. Thanks for that. I was like, wow, okay. Seems like it was moving, but that, okay, got time to think. Good.
Yeah.
26. I think that's all.
Shannon,
We actually talked about it.
Sweet.
So, yeah.
Russell? And nor do I. Staff, the announcements.
Well, I guess we already kind of covered Vision 43. Steve just said that, you know, the code's being written. We're going to, once it's written, we're going to submit it to everyone, put it out there for the public, like an online open house, and then take that information and start the legislative process of going to the planning commission and having work sessions, and then having them make a recommendation to the city council, and then the city council will take a look at it and make a final decision on the new development code. I guess another announcement is that just earlier, you know, a couple hours ago, we submitted for a grant for looking at implementation in the historic city hall district, developing some new development codes.
Very cool.
See?
Yeah.
See,
What's the turnaround time on something like that?
well, it'll take 3 months to get back based on whether or not we receive the grant. So, and then after we receive the grant, it's a 24-month implementation plan. The first 6 months, we hire consultants. And then as part of that implementation, we have a technical advisory committee with, you know, like ODOT and just technical input, but we'd also have a project working group and stakeholder coordination and property owner coordination.
What was the name of that grant?
It's a Metro 2040 grant.
Thank you.
So the grant is for implementation of development code in the historic city hall district, which is just the northern end. The cultural heritage, the industrial heritage zones, and the ponds districts are not under, we're not developed, we're not moving forward with code. That's going to be a separate phase. We're going to phase the project. So right now, we're just going to focus on the most feasible district. Historic city hall.
Any communication with the property owner around the old historic? What they would want to do with it?
Yes, we've been communicating with property owners in the Historic City Hall District, and they are supporting our grant. They've written a letter of support for the grants.
Because I understand, great, the city owns just a square that
Yeah.
the building's on, and that whole empty area is by somebody else.
Yeah. That is true.
So they're open to having something else be about there.
Yes. Yeah. Right now, a parking lot isn't, asphalt isn't really,
Is that PTE?
Sort of.
which slice?
Right, yeah.
Slice are you talking about?
Fun fact, it used to be a hotel.
Really? Yeah.
That'd be a great spot.
That's why there was one there to begin with. Yes. So this grant is to develop code to be able to do something with the building and the space and.
It's to develop zoning, new zoning for the 50 acres of the Historic City Hall District. And to develop development code. So the vision plan identified that area as a mixed use with retail, kind of a Main Street feel with retail and housing. But then also as a cultural community center, because you have the Historic City Hall as a cultural community center. So the vision plan identified some uses, and now what we have to do is convert that into development code and actual zone for the areas.
Is the daycare part of that area?
Yes. Yeah.
Have you ever driven there? Have you ever been in that zone? Okay, you know what I'm talking about. I don't know how that daycare survives.
Yeah.
It is so, it's like, yeah.
That wasn't gonna help.
Yeah, it is a very interesting conglomeration right there.
Yeah. Yeah, and so that, that whole area is just, could just be so much more.
Right.
And that's what the vision plan showed, and we have a lot of support. And so that will be a 2-year process, a 2-year grant process, and
At one point, they floated the idea of blocking off the lower part or the roundabout was put in by ODOT,
maybe like territorial.
where it comes down, like,
Well,
Taking out the gas station.
yeah, taking out the gas.
if you look at the transportation system plan, it calls for kind of a realignment of Sunset, back and a roundabout there and another roundabout. It's more thoughtful than what's there, to put it that way. But that's what we got.
Yeah, so that was a 2021 Willamette Falls Drive concept plan. That was a 20% plan of how to realign Willamette Falls Drive connecting to Highway 43. And that's 20% plan. And part of this grant includes a, let's take another look at it, an updated reconsideration of appropriate alignments for the Willamette Falls Drive.
Yes, well, I'm also where it comes in.
Mhm.
Has to have this to the gas station.
Yeah.
Block it.
Yeah.
Restricted.
Do you know when the water project's gonna be done in the bridge issue?
Oh,
No.
the Adriatic Bridge?
No, I wouldn't trust anyone who said.
Ever heard about a water infrastructure project in the country?
The city, yeah, we need to, as part of the Abernathy Bridge, the city's putting a new water pipe. I don't know, has it been done yet, or is
As far
it?
as I understand it started, but that was not a project we wanted.
Yeah.
Or
No.
took on ourselves. It was, we're ripping out this bridge and your water line, so you're gonna need a new one. Oh, by the way, here's a bill for it. So that's kind of where that's at. It's however long the project takes on the bridge.
The first builder to be placed.
I am not sure, but I'm sure probably settled, but
Well,
They're good at this.
So that's what we don't know.
I wouldn't trust anyone who says they do.
Because, the rumor is that it's stalled out because part of what's being done is the toll. And that the toll doesn't have support, so it's stalling out getting the bridge done because they're wanting to put toll support in the midst of everything that they're doing.
It's been making more progress in the last few months than I've seen in the last few years, and the project is technically fully funded, so.
Wow, okay.
Started,
Supposedly.
but they did it funny.
If polling came back up, I think you would request that we would be yelling about it a lot.
City council was very vocal about tolling.
We're not
Yes.
fans.
Yeah, so
No, I
yeah,
can't.
very active in the whole issue of tolling, so.
At least, we didn't like the concept of disproportionately targeting our community with polling only there. That had a lot of issues. That, as far as anyone can tell, that is off the table.
Will there be buses in the bus lane signs that are up?
There are not bus lanes, but there are shoulders that buses may use and not TriMet buses, special service out of Wilsonville.
Oh,
They're
okay.
allowed to use it
I've never seen
in
anything.
traffic.
It's only smart. Smart buses, okay.
It's a little bit different. Yeah. Do you think Josh from the trust might be someone who could get into a future meeting?
Because it doesn't
I
say.
think they might benefit from it. Sunset
And
last
the
night.
lanes are so
Yeah.
small.
That's a great idea.
Could be in here about
Us.
Josh.
Well, yeah, Josh from Trust to come to an NBC meeting. Yeah. I'm just, so we can try and get that.
Haven't told Josh about it, but.
Yeah, we'll ask Josh.
Negotiation last night, presenting about waterfront project and the trust role in it. I think you got to benefit from that too. It's a great idea.
Yes, thank you. We love it.
And so, and Oregon City Business Alliance has also got their, event coming up where there's going to be like a discussion about waterfront and lots of anything.
So, August, how do you guys feel about August? So the first,
Gonna break our cadence.
We did really well up until
You guys are still fine ever since March. We've had a.
So August 6th is the first, Thursday in August. How's everyone feeling about that? August 6th.
I'm here.
Christie, do you know if you're available on August 6th?
Yes, I should be, and in person next time.
All right.
We should have a quorum on August 6th.
We'll see you here on August 6th. Okay. In this room. So our agenda had said, that we were gonna meet in the Linn room, but that's only because we were meeting, this is technically the second Thursday of the month. And that's usually the Parks and Rec Board meets here. But if we're meeting the first Thursday, we'll meet here.
I am their liaison, as many of you may remember, jumping between meetings.
Yes.
But we have one overlap with them because I can't be in two places.
You're not trying.
Either items, Steve or anything?
I will share that on Tuesday, Victoria and I are co-hosting an event at 8 a.m. at the Adult Community Center on Rosemont Road, where I'll be sharing a little bit of information about the city's Framing Our Future, which also relates to some of the economic pressures that we've all been talking about at this meeting. So I invite any of you to join or share information about the meeting with anyone you think might be interested.
That's Tuesday at 8?
Tuesday, the 14th at 8 a.m.
Gotta love us seniors, we're up early,
ACC.
you know, 8 o'clock. We've been up for hours at 8 o'clock.
Plus like bedtime.
All right.
We'll adjourn 7:23.